guys, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming at you another Let's Play episode of Lyre. Yes, I got it right. Thank you guys so much in the comments for telling me if if my pronunciation was correct or not. That's an interesting. If that spells something out, huh? Interesting placement of that shadow there. That's probably nothing. But yeah, as you guys can probably tell, it might be a little bit quieter. I'm actually recording this at night where everyone is asleep, so I'm going to try and be a little quiet. I've turned the volume of my mic up, so you guys should be able to hear me just fine. But anyway, guys, sit back and enjoy, and let's jump right into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up. All right, let's begin. Well, that came out of nowhere. I think for a moment about what I should say. I don't want to give away too much about myself. Well, I was granted nobility in the West, and I'm good at what I do. At least I'd like to think that I am. Sometimes I feel like I was carried through my position. The look on Lyall's face tells me that was a bit too vague. What kind of voice should I do for Lyall? What do you guys think? What should he sound like? Please let me know in the comments what you think what Lyall should sound like. Should it be light voice? Should he have like a heavier tone? More fanciful? Just let me know in the comments, guys. What? That's it? He has an unsatisfied look on his face, but then he shrugs. I'm sure there's more to it. Well, if I'm going to tell you my life story, you better tell me yours. And I'll need a drink. Deal. Yeah, oh, wow, what a transition. It's not even the 18th hour by the time the sun dissipates behind the mountains, and I'm forced to light a candle. I've taken off most of my outfit, folded it, and set it down in the corner for tomorrow. Lyall is reclined in one of the chairs, telling me about when he was a squire, when there was a knock at the door. His ears perk up, and he sniffs at the air. I thought I smelled food. Really? Because all I can smell is wine. Yeah, wine is a very distinct, delicious smell. He stumbles getting up, yet confidently walks over to the door. Though he tries to hide it, he's a bit tipsy. He opens it and greets the server. The cart is pushed in as Lyall steps back. The cart is filled to the brim with all different types of foods. I see a roasted duck, cooked fish, all ate on greens surrounded by vegetables. I recognize these delicates due to them being abundant where I'm from. There's some bread and cheese with a weird sauce in a bowl off to the side. On a side tray, there's a fresh bottle of wine with what looks to be a piece of mint. Thank you, I call out to the server, standing in the doorway. He nods in acknowledgement and leaves. Lyall stands there for a moment before adjusting his cape. Well, enjoy your meal. He makes to leave the room, but I speak up. Oh, you're not going to join me? He pauses for a moment and turns to answer. That's very generous of you, but I'll just go eat in my quarters later. Besides, I already rated you of your wine. And I have stuff that I need to do. I'm sad that I have to see him go, but he also looks a bit conflicted. I don't think I can be alone right now. I need some company after everything that's happened. Oh, come on. I insist. Besides, this is way too much food, even for someone who hasn't had a proper meal in days. He turns away from the door before closing it with a smile on his face. Well, if it's okay with you, then I guess I can stay. He walks back over to one of the chairs and sits down. I take a bunch of the food and put it on my plate. The fish looks really good, so I grab some of that first. There's a piece of parchment placed in the center of the tray. I pick up the note and read it. Enjoy. R. Enjoy. R. Maybe that's the chef? Once I'm done, Lyall begins filling up. Sorry, I was watching an episode of It's Always Sunny last night, and Dee was doing the frickin' she was trying to do an Irish accent, but she just came across as a pirate. Once I'm done, Lyall begins filling up his plate. He takes quite a bit of it, and most of the duck is gone by the time he's done plating his food. And I thought that I was taking a lot. He plops into his chair and starts to eat. After a few minutes of somewhat quiet eating, he continues his story. Anyway, I was a squire for Lord Bryn up until the age of 19. I was made an anointed knight by the king. Wow, that's a real young age to become a knight. And now you're the captain? Yep. How old are you now? 22. You're captain of a guard and you're only 22? I'm gonna get over how freaking cool that is. I like that. I blurt this out before immediately regretting it. I'm only just about to turn 20. I'm already being sent far away for a blah. I'm only just about to turn 20 and I'm already being sent far away on diplomatic missions, so I guess I shouldn't be talking. But still, most of the people aren't even knighted until they're 21. Believe me, I was just as surprised as you are. But a captain usually has a next in line selected in case they die. When Sir Renar died, he had me chosen as his successor. Everyone said that he was grooming me for command, but I didn't really suspect it. The king was pleased with this, though, so I didn't question it. He takes a grape, pops it in his mouth, and chews it with a distant look on his face. Did you not want to be captain? He stops chewing for a moment, then keeps going. It's something that I wanted, but it just happened so fast. Yeah, I understand. It must be stressful being put into a position like that so fast. Well, I'm sure you're doing a good job. I hope so. He takes another drink from his cup. I take another bite from my fish. It's soft and basically melts in my mouth. Oh my god, it's the best kind of fish. It's the best food I've had in a long time. Maybe it's because I was so hungry. The fish tastes much better from the fish off the coast of Arran. Lyall empties his cup and then reaches for the pitcher to pour some more. So, Luvun, how old are you? I'm 19. Looks a bit older than 19 to me. I cock an eyebrow at him. Not that that's a bad thing. Ha! Well, the same can be said for you, Scruffy. I jokingly drag my finger across my right eye, hinting at his scar. Ha! I guess so. He reaches up and rubs a paw over his eye while chuckling. How did you get that? If you don't mind me asking. He contemplates for a moment, then pours some more wine. I'll tell you that story someday, and I'd need a lot more wine than this. He lifts the bottle and sloshes it around slightly. His speech is a bit slurred due to the drunk state he's in. He takes a big drink from his cup and lowers it with a satisfied exhale. It must be interesting. That's one way to describe it. He picks up his empty plate and sets it on the tray. I'm finishing a piece of bread when I notice his eyes light up. Can I have this piece of mint? He holds up the little bundle of leaves. Yeah, you can have it. Thank you. Mint is my favorite. He pops a piece of it in his mouth and chews on it in pure bliss, his tail wagging. I finish my plate and place it on the tray. I'm feeling really tired now that I have some food in my stomach. God, I can frickin' relate to that. God, one of the most knockout meals I had was like Italian spaghetti and buffalo meatballs. And my God, and wine, like I had a full cup of wine. I went to bed like 20 minutes after I ate that. I was knocked the fuck out. It was a good night. I can tell Lyall senses this. Thanks for letting me eat with you, but... He gets up from his chair with a grunt and pats his stomach. I should probably be going. I'm sure that you're going to have a busy day tomorrow. He starts walking towards the door. No need to thank me. You're good company. He smiles and opens the door. Have a good night, and I'll be guarding the hall for a bit if you need anything. Good night. He kind of stumbles through the door and it closes with a thud. I take off the rest of my outfit, blow out the candle, and then fall into the bed. Today was certainly a strange day. I've only been awake for a couple hours, but I feel so tired. My side still feels a bit sore, but it should get better with time. Lyall and Leif seem really nice, especially Lyall. I'm glad that I was in their care while I was out. I can't help but be excited to meet the king tomorrow. It may sound boring, but I'm actually looking forward to my job. The wine gets to me and I slowly drift off. Ooh, Chapter 2, Day 2. My eyelids feel dry and burn at the corners. I lay there motionless, not because I can't move, but because I don't want to. I feel so exhausted. The lower halves of my arms and legs feel like stone pillars. I slowly collect myself as I wake up. Sometimes when I'm waking up, it takes me a minute to realize that I even exist. I have to steadily become aware of my surroundings. I groggily open my eyes. It's still night? I look out the moonlit window and can scan the room, adjusting my eyes. That would make sense considering how much sleep I've already gotten. I raise myself from my reclined position. Halfway to sitting position, I feel a tug at my throat. It feels like a smooth rope is tied around my neck. It pulls me back with a hard jolt. A full of burning substance lurches down my throat. It's acidic and has an awful taste to it. Cats, no! Knock it off. Silly little things. What's happening? I struggle to grasp, but it appears pointless. There's a harder tug as the rope pulls me deeper into the bed. I feel the burning liquid pour down my throat faster now as my upper body sinks into the covers. I try to scream out for Lyall, hoping that he's in the hall still. I see shadows catch through the crack under the door. It looks like someone is on the other side, standing in front of it. I hear a breath in my right ear. I jolt awake, eyes wide open, breathing hard as my chest heaves up and down. The early morning light is pouring through the window, casting a pink hue on the bricks. I fucking hate nightmares. They're even scarier when they make sense. It's much different when they consist of preposterous scenarios that can never happen. Nightmares like the one I just had are the ones that linger in my head for a while after they happen. I've really got to stop drinking before bed. I rustle out of bed and get to my feet. The ground is still a bit cold. I should probably ask if I could have a rug brought up. I walk across the room, my bare feet lightly padding against the cool ground, sending a fresh feeling throughout my body. The stress from that vivid nightmare slowly fading away as I slightly move towards the window. Once I reach it, I press my hand to the cold glass and look outside. There isn't much to see from this side of the castle, just some mountains in the sky. I wish I had a view of the town. I stare out at the mountains and the way that they cascade down from the skies like great stone blankets covered in grass. The trees are slowly losing their leaves as winter approaches. I hear the door open and some shuffling. I turn around to see Lyre standing in the doorway, carrying a tray of food. I see some meat with cheese and some bread with cream spread. It all looks really good, and I am a bit hungry. I thought I would bring you your breakfast up, since I wanted to give you some of this. He nudges the corner of the tray where a small bottle shakes around. You seem to be doing fine right now, but just in case you feel any pain, you can take a spoonful of this. I rub my side and don't like feeling discomfort. It feels a bit sore, though. Thank you. It's no problem. He sets the tray down on the small table next to my bed. After fiddling with one of the bottles, he turns and looks in my direction. His gaze meets with my side, and he tilts his head in curiosity. You're healing very fast. I rub at my side and shrug. Humans do that. You said it yourself. I did. I decide to change the subject. How often do you wear that thing? I say, lightly pointing to his mask. I find that it's very useful in my profession. He holds his hands together down by his waist as he idly pats his clawed foot against the ground. Has anyone ever seen your face? He looks down with a sigh of defeat and then brings his gloved hands up behind his head. I see him start to fiddle with the little leather latch on the back. He pulls the mask off, tossing it onto the bed. Oh, he's a crow. Or a raven. He then takes his hat off and looks up at me. He looks like a raven, which I find ironic. His little beady green eyes stare up at me. Without the mask, he looks a lot more approachable. Satisfied? He says in a curious and slightly annoyed tone. Perfectly, I say back with some satisfaction. He goes to put his mask back on while averting his gaze. I feel a lot better with you poking and prodding me now that I know what you look like. I honestly didn't care that much, but I didn't want him to think he could get away with that on every patient. Well, I'm glad I could make you feel a bit more comfortable. He steps over to the door and opens it. If you have any questions, just ask me or anyone around the castle. Where's Lyall? Leaf pauses for a moment, leaning his head out of the doorway to quickly stare down the hall. At this time of the morning, he could be anywhere. I wonder if he's still sleeping. One would hope he didn't stay out in the halls all night. I think of any other questions I might have. I could really use a bath. I feel very unclean. Where is the bathing room? If you head left, it's at the very end of the hallway behind the wooden door painted white. Left. Wooden door, painted white. Got it. Thank you. You're very welcome. Have a nice day. With that, he leaves through the doorway, and I'm left alone again. I'm glad I managed to get him to take off that mask. It's not like I'm someone riddled with a contagious disease. I walk over to the desk near the door and fidget with some of the things on it. There's a nice-looking quill which I pick up and twirl around in my fingers. I set it back down and then walk over to my pile of belongings. I'll probably have someone come up and unpack my things. I guess I can arrange them to my liking once they're at least out of their trunks. I turn back to the tray of food sitting on my bed and carry it over the desk. I sit down in the chair and scoot it forward. It's very comfortable, and the desk is also at the perfect height. I go through the food pretty quickly as I stare out the window at the clouds moving by. Before I know it, I'm done with my meal and I drink the last of my water. It only takes me a couple of minutes to gather my things and head out the door. Ooh, pretty. Yeah, I read that I know the music for this is absolutely beautiful. I read that the composer sadly lost his life to COVID. Very, 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 very sorry to hear that for the dev team, for his friends and his family, and you know, at least in him passing on, he has left behind this music for us to enjoy, this thing that will put a smile on our face and let us remember him. And honestly, this is what I want to be remembered for. I want to be remembered for helping people, you know, for making people happy, for entertaining others. You know, this music is making me very pensive. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Got emotional. Alright, back to it. I step out into the hallway. The walls are lined with stone pillars, and there's an occasional portrait, statue, or torch. As I near the end of the hall, it turns into a sort of balcony. The pillars are separated by large arched windows. I get a nice view of the fjord from here. The light from outside pours into the hall and lights up the bricks with a glow. I reach the end of the hallway, and there it is. A large door painted white, the light shining off it, making it contrast against the walls. I approach it and grab onto the handle. There's some resistance as I pull on the door. I push on it and it finally budges. Let me guess who's gonna be in there. I swing the door open and I'm met with a wonderful smell. Ooh, that's beautiful. The room is white and reflective, giving off a hazy glow. My eyes are instantly drawn to a large empty pool in the center of the room with a towering fountain in the center. The faucet is shaped like a weird spiraled antler and made of what looks like gold. I stride into the room, my footsteps echoing off the walls. God, the artwork for this is beautiful. I love that owl perched at the top. Even with the sound of my shoes padding against the ground, the room is peacefully quiet. To my right are 3 tall windows. Their glass is stained blue, green, and yellow. The green one is in the middle and slightly taller than the other 2. Figures. I whisper to myself under my breath. It reverberates around the room regardless. On my left, there's another door. There are some carved benches against the walls and some towels folded and stacked next to a laundry chute. I set the clothes that I plan on changing into next to the towels. I turn and look at the pool, circling the edge, examining the fountain, trying to figure it out. After another quick scan of the room, I see some levers up against the wall in the corner. Walking up to them, I see they have different colored handles, and I figure that this is the contraption to get the water flowing. One of the handles says water. Another says mineral water. One says salt. Sorry guys, one of my cats is clawing at their little scratching post. Hey! Knock it off! I'm making a video. Each handle has a different type of bath water, and some have soaps labeled on them. I don't really know which to choose, so I decide to have some fun and just pull the levers. There's a rumbling in the walls that travels through the floors and pipes snaking around under my feet. Ooh, that's cool. I love that. Oh my god, that's so cool. Oh, I love contraptions like that. Physics, son. Water starts to funnel out of the prongs in the antler, arching through the air and pooling into the bowl in the center. The water is different colors, probably due to being mixed with so many kinds of soaps and other bath products. Oh, that's pretty cool. It fills up the bowl in the center quickly, and soon a pillar of water starts to flow over the edge of the rim, splashing at the bottom of the pool. After a while, the water is filled up to an adequate height. It starts to drain out the sides so it doesn't overflow. It's very enchanting watching the light from the colored windows shine into the pale room and bounce off the multicolored pool, sending refractions of colored light bouncing off the walls. I look up and see a large owl statue shelved into the wall, its wings spread out, fanning across the ceiling. I walk over to the bench next to the laundry chute and start to strip. Once my dirty clothes are off, I lay them in a pile on the bench and walk over to the large tub, my bare feet cold on the floor. The thick floral scent that was hit with when I first entered the bathing room has gotten stronger now that the tub is being churned with the different oils and soaps. Large bubbles are forming on the surface, and there are all sorts of beautiful colors. I sit near the edge and slowly lower my foot past the bubbles and into the water. At first, the water feels cold, but as my nerves register the feeling, I feel a warm sensation around my foot. I ease myself into the water, and a warm feeling envelops my body as I lean against the wall of the pool with my back to the entrance. The water is thick with fragrance and feels amazing on my skin. I dunk my head under the water, closing my eyes as I quickly wet my hair. I bring my head back out of the water, feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. Although Lyall said that I didn't smell, there was no denying that I felt very dirty. I carefully start to rub at my arms and legs as I clean myself. The waters wash away my memory, my worries, and my mind drifts away from all the crazy things that have happened so far, along with the weird dream I just had. I finished cleaning and leaned back against the wall of the pool, closing my eyes for the rest of the minute. Closing my eyes to rest for a minute. Sorry, guys. Been a long day for me. I only had my eyes closed for about 10 seconds before I hear the door to my left open. Oh! Yeah, I'm gonna have to, censor that. That is a penis. Oh. Oh, God. Lyall steps into the room, sliding through the half-open doorway, and stops in his tracks when he sees me. He shakes his head as if clearing his gaze, as if clearing his mind, and then takes a few steps forward, averting his gaze. I didn't know anyone would be in here. He walks to the edge of the pool across from me and starts to get in. I look like a fool, sitting in the water with a dumbstruck look on my face. I try to keep my eyes on his face, but they fall to the one place I knew they would. I can't help but glance at his manhood as it sits there between his legs in full view. It's quite large, and I gather my thoughts and respond. I needed a bath. I wring my arms in and slink into the water. And that is where I am going to pause it. Yep. Cats, knock it off, you're being silly. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to the next video. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, and this has been a nighttime video. Maybe more to come.